I'm Haley, an 36-year-old woman from a quiet town where time seems to stand still. But my world has just been shattered in ways I never thought possible. For over 60 years, I've shared a life with Richard, a man whose dreams always burned brighter than mine, until a chilling autumn night unveiled a betrayal so dark it stole the warmth from my bones. As I sat on our old porch, wrapped in memories, I couldn't have imagined the twisted path he'd lead me down, into the shadows of an abandoned building where secrets waited to unravel me. What did I discover in that forsaken place, and why does my heart ache with both shame and a forbidden thrill I can't confess? Stick around, because the truth is more haunting than I could ever have feared. Picture this: a late autumn afternoon, the kind where the sun barely peeks through a shroud of gray, casting long, tired shadows across a worn wooden porch. That's where I'm sitting right now, bundled in a quilt my grandmother stitched decades ago, the chill seeping into my bones despite the layers. My name's Haley, and at 36, I've got more years behind me than ahead. I've spent most of them in this sleepy little town in upstate New York, where the biggest excitement is the annual harvest fair. Life here moves slow, like molasses in winter, and I've grown accustomed to its rhythm. My hands, gnarled and spotted with age, tremble a bit as I hold a steaming mug of chamomile tea, the warmth a small comfort against the ache in my joints. I've been married to Richard for over 60 years. 60. Can you even wrap your head around that? We met when I was barely out of my teens, and he was this whirlwind of a man, all sharp edges and big dreams. Even now, pushing 89, he hasn't lost that spark. Richard's always been the kind to chase the next grand idea, the next impossible scheme, while I've been content to keep the home fires burning. Our life together isn't what you'd call passionate anymore. Those flames burned out long ago, somewhere between raising kids and paying bills. But there's a steadiness to us, a quiet understanding forged through decades of shared mornings and late-night talks over lukewarm coffee. We've got children, 3 of them, all grown and scattered like dandelion seeds across the country. The grandkids, bless them, are a rarer sight. I miss their sticky fingers and loud laughter, but life pulls everyone in different directions, doesn't it? Richard and I, we've settled into a routine, a comfortable dance of predictability. Breakfast at 7, him reading the paper while I tend to the garden, or at least I used to, before my knees started protesting every bend. Lately, though, I've felt something off between us, a subtle drift I can't quite name. It's not a fight or a cold shoulder, just a distance, like we're speaking the same language, but hearing different meanings. I've chalked it up to age, to the way time wears on even the strongest bonds, but it nags at me in the quiet moments. Then there's this old school building, a crumbling heap from the 1930s, all peeling paint and broken windows, sitting on the edge of town like a forgotten memory. Richard bought it a few months back, out of the blue, with that glint in his eye I've seen 100 times before. He called it his final grand project, a chance to build something lasting, something for us to leave behind. "Our new life, Haley," he said, his voice brimming with a boyish excitement I hadn't heard in years. He wanted to turn it into a community center, a place for the town to gather, to remember. As the evening settles in, I'm nestled in our old living room, the familiar scent of Richard's pipe tobacco curling through the air like a ghost of countless nights spent just like this. The windows are shut tight against the autumn chill, and the only light comes from a flickering lamp on the side table, casting soft shadows across the worn floral wallpaper. I'm perched in my armchair, knitting a scarf for our youngest granddaughter, Lila, the soft click of the needles a steady rhythm against the quiet. The yarn is a deep burgundy, her favorite color, and I can almost see her little face lighting up when I give it to her. Across from me, Richard is hunched over the coffee table, his weathered hands smoothing out blueprints for that old school he's been pouring his heart into. His brow is furrowed in concentration, but there's a spark in his eyes, a fire that age hasn't dimmed. He breaks the silence first, his voice gravelly but warm. "Haley, you won't believe it. The crew's ahead of schedule. They've got the framework for the gym almost done already. I'm turning it into the heart of the community center, a place for kids to play, for folks to gather. You've got to see it." I glance up from my knitting, my fingers pausing mid-stitch. There's a grin on his face, the kind I haven't seen in ages, and it tugs at something deep in my chest. I nod, offering a small smile, but before I can reply, he leans forward, his tone shifting to something more insistent. "I want you to head over there tonight. Meet the crew. I'm running late from a meeting with a contractor in town, but I'll catch up. They're expecting you." I blink, caught off guard. "Tonight?" "Richard, it's already past 7. I'm worn out, and it's dark as pitch out there." My voice carries a hint of protest, the ache in my bones seconding my words. But his expression hardens, not in anger, but with a strange urgency I can't place. "Please, Haley, it's important. Just a quick visit. I need you there." There's a weight to his words, a firmness that brooks no argument, and though my gut twists with reluctance, I find myself nodding. That distance I've felt between us lately, it's there in this moment too, but I push it aside. Maybe this is his way of bridging it. With a sigh, I set the knitting down and shuffle to the hall closet, my joints protesting every step. I pull on my old wool coat, the fabric scratchy against my skin, and wrap a scarf around my neck. My hands tremble as I fumble with the buttons, a shiver running through me that has little to do with the cold. There's an unease I can't name, a whisper in the back of my mind telling me something's off, but I shake it off as nonsense. I'm just tired, I tell myself. Just old. As I step into the old school's gym, the air hits me like a slap, thick with the scent of dust and mildew that clings to every surface. The faded lines of the basketball court stretch out beneath my feet, their once bright yellow now a sickly, washed-out shade, scuffed and peeling at the edges. Overhead, the fluorescent lights flicker erratically, casting long, jagged shadows that dance across the walls, making the space feel alive in the worst way, like it's watching me. The vast emptiness of the room amplifies every sound, from the creak of my worn boots on the hardwood to the shallow rasp of my own breath. My fingers tighten around the strap of my purse, clutching it to my chest as if it could shield me from the creeping dread settling into my bones. I stop short when I see them, 12 men standing in a loose semicircle near the far wall, their silhouettes stark against the dim light. They're dressed in rough work clothes, jeans faded at the knees, flannel shirts rolled up at the sleeves, and steel-toed boots caked with dirt. Their faces are hard, weathered by years of labor, and completely unreadable. Not a single one moves or speaks. They just stare, their eyes locked on me with an intensity that makes my skin crawl. My breath catches in my throat, a sharp, painful hitch, and I force myself to take a step forward, my voice trembling as I stammer out a greeting. Hello? Are you Richard's crew? I'm Haley, his wife. He said you'd be expecting me." The words hang in the air, unanswered, swallowed by the oppressive silence. My unease blooms into something darker, something primal, as I notice how unnaturally still they are. It's not just quiet. It's as if they've been waiting, poised for this exact moment. Then, one of them steps forward, and my heart lurches. He's tall, broad-shouldered, with rough, calloused hands that look like they've built and broken 1,000 things. His face is lined, etched deep with time, and a faded name tag pinned to his flannel reads, Mike. He approaches slowly, each step deliberate, and I flinch as he reaches out. But his touch is unexpectedly gentle, his fingers brushing a stray strand of gray hair from my face, with a tenderness that confuses me. His voice comes low, almost a whisper, rough as gravel. "He knows. He wants you to do this." My mind reels, questions tumbling over each other in a frantic rush. Who knows? What does he want? I open my mouth to ask, but the words die on my lips as the atmosphere shifts, heavy and suffocating. The other men begin to close in, their silence breaking into low murmurs that ripple through the group like a dark tide. My pulse hammers in my ears, and a sickening realization dawns on me, twisting my stomach into knots. I try to step back, to protest, but my legs feel rooted to the cold gym floor. Fear claws at me, raw and overwhelming, as I'm surrounded, their presence pressing in from all sides. At first I resist, my voice cracking with desperation, but it's futile against their quiet determination. And then, something shifts inside me. A strange, shameful surrender. Decades of monotony, of a life lived in muted tones, seem to crack open, and a part of me, buried so deep I didn't know it existed, gives in. I'm caught in a storm of conflicting emotions, guilt and confusion warring with a forbidden thrill I can't fully comprehend. It's as if I'm outside myself, watching as I'm drawn into something I never imagined, something that unfolds in the shadowed heart of this forgotten place. The coldness of the floor seeps through my coat, grounding me in a moment that feels both surreal and devastatingly real. I'm lost in a haze of exhaustion and disbelief when it's over, my breath coming in shallow gasps, my mind struggling to piece together what just happened. That's when I look up, my vision blurred with unshed tears, and see him. Richard. He's standing in the doorway of the gym, half shrouded in shadow, holding a camera. The silence that follows is deafening, a heavy, suffocating void that presses down on me as I lie there on the cold gym floor. The men, those shadowy figures who moments ago surrounded me, are gone now, dispersing without a word, their heavy boots echoing faintly as they vanish into the darkness beyond the flickering lights. I'm alone, utterly alone, my body aching in ways I can't begin to describe, my old wool coat crumpled in a heap beside me like a discarded memory. My hands tremble uncontrollably as I push myself up, every joint screaming in protest, every breath a ragged gasp that catches in my throat. Tears stream down my weathered cheeks, hot and unrelenting. A bitter mix of shame, confusion, and a raw, burning anger that I don't know where to direct. My mind is a storm, replaying those moments over and over. Their hands, their murmurs, the way I surrendered to something I never thought I could. What have I done? What has been done to me? I'm still trying to piece myself together, to find some shred of dignity in this shattered moment, when I hear the faint click of a device shutting off. My eyes dart up, blurry and stinging, to see Richard standing there, just a few feet away now, no longer in the doorway but close enough that I can see the cold glint in his eyes. He's slipping a small camera into his pocket, the same one I saw him holding earlier, and the sight of it sends a fresh wave of nausea through me. My voice, hoarse and broken, claws its way out of my throat as I stagger to my feet, clutching my coat to my chest like a shield. Why, Richard? Why did you do this to me? What did Mike mean by, "he knows"? And why were you filming it? Each question spills out louder than the last, desperate and raw, but he doesn't flinch. He just looks at me, his face a mask of detachment, as if I'm a stranger he's already forgotten. Then, in a voice so calm it chills me to the bone, he says, "Now I'm free." That's it. No explanation, no remorse, just those 3 words hanging in the air like a curse. He turns on his heel, his back to me, and starts walking away, ignoring the pleas that tumble from my lips, weak and futile. "Richard, wait! Talk to me! Don't leave me like this!" But he doesn't stop, doesn't even glance back. I stumble after him, my legs shaky and unsteady, the cold gym floor biting into my soles through my worn boots. I make it to the doorway just in time to see the tail lights of his car pulling out of the lot, disappearing into the inky blackness of the night. The autumn chill hits me like a wall as I stand there, alone in the empty parking area, the wind cutting through my thin layers and sinking into my bones. My breath comes in shuddering clouds, mingling with the tears that still fall, and I feel smaller than I ever have in my 36 years. What did he mean by free? Free from what? From me? From us? My mind reels, grasping for answers that slip through my fingers like smoke. I don't know how long I stand there, frozen in more ways than one, before I finally drag myself to my old sedan, the keys trembling in my hand as I fumble to unlock the door. The drive home is a blur, a haze of dark roads and flickering streetlights that I barely register. My hands grip the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ache, and my thoughts churn relentlessly, replaying every moment of this nightmare. Richard's eerie smile as he stood in the doorway, the way he held that camera like it was some kind of trophy, the cryptic words from Mike that still echo in my ears. He knows. He wants you to do this. Who knows? What did they want? And why did Richard stand there, watching, recording, as if my pain was just another part of his grand project? I can't make sense of it. Can't find a thread to pull that will unravel this tangled mess. All I feel is the weight of betrayal. I'm sitting on the porch again, days after that night in the gym. The same quilt wrapped tight around me, but it offers no warmth now, not against the cold that settled deep in my soul. My hands, still shaky, clutch a small plain package that arrived this morning. No return address, no name, just my own scrawled across the front in a hurried, unfamiliar hand. My heart's pounding as I tear at the brown paper, the sound of it ripping too loud in the quiet autumn air. Inside, there's a USB drive, small and black, unassuming, with no note, no explanation, nothing to tell me what I'm about to uncover. My stomach churns, a sickening mix of dread and curiosity twisting inside me. I know I shouldn't look, shouldn't touch it, but I can't stop myself. I need to know. I shuffle inside, my old bones protesting every step, and drag out my ancient laptop from the desk drawer. The screen flickers to life, slow and reluctant, just like me. My fingers tremble as I plug in the drive, the little icon popping up like a silent accusation. I click on it, and there it is. A video file, time-stamped from that night. My breath catches, sharp and painful, as I hesitate, my cursor hovering over the play button. Every instinct screams at me to stop, to throw this thing away, but I can't. I press play, and the grainy footage fills the screen. It's the gym, those flickering lights, the faded court lines, and there I am, my face unmistakable even in the dimness. I see myself surrounded, see the moment I broke, the moment I gave in to something I can't even name. It's all there, captured in cruel detail, every second a punch to my gut. I can't watch more than a few moments before I slam the laptop shut, my hands shaking so bad I nearly knock it off the table. Nausea rises, hot and bitter in my throat, and I press a hand to my mouth, trying to hold myself together. The emotions hit me like a tidal wave, crashing over me with no mercy. Disgust, first and foremost, a deep gnawing loathing for myself, for what I allowed to happen, for the way my body and mind betrayed me in that shadowed place. Then there's the betrayal, sharp and cutting, knowing Richard was behind this, that he orchestrated it all, stood there with his camera while I shattered. But the worst part, the part that makes me want to crawl out of my own skin, is the realization that somewhere, in the midst of that chaos, I felt something. A twisted, forbidden flicker of thrill, a dark enjoyment I can't deny, no matter how much I hate myself for it. It's a stain on my soul, a secret I can't wash away, and it makes me question everything I thought I knew about who I am. How could I have felt that? How could any part of me have wanted it, even for a fleeting second? I'm drowning in shame, in self-hatred, in the weight of knowing I can't undo what's been done. Days pass, each one heavier than the last, and then another envelope arrives. This one's thicker, official-looking, and my heart sinks before I even open it. Inside are divorce papers, Richard's signature already scrawled across the bottom, neat and final. There's a typed note clipped to the front, cold and impersonal, stating he's already moved out, that he wants nothing more to do with me, that this is the end. I sit there at the kitchen table, the papers trembling in my hands, surrounded by the empty shell of our home. 60 years of memories, photographs on the walls, the creak of the floorboards we walked together, the echoes of laughter from our children, mock me now. It hits me like a brick. He planned this. He used me, used that night, used my brokenness as his excuse to walk away, to free himself from a life he no longer wanted with me. Those words he spoke in the gym echo in my mind, chilling me all over again. Now I'm free. It's been months since the ink dried on those divorce papers. Months since Richard walked out of my life for good, leaving behind a silence so thick it feels like it's choking me. I'm still here, in this old house in upstate New York, the one we built our life in, the one that now feels more like a tomb than a home. Every room is a mausoleum of happier times, filled with echoes of laughter that don't belong to me anymore. The creak of the floorboards under my slow, shuffling steps is the only sound most days, a reminder of how empty everything has become. I'm alone now, truly alone, at 36 years old, surrounded by walls that hold 60 years of memories. Some sweet, most bitter, now that I see them through the lens of betrayal. I've heard whispers about Richard through the town gossip mill, the kind of hushed talk that spreads like wildfire in a place this small. They say he's down in Florida, living it up with some new woman, a younger one no doubt. Word is he sold off that old-school project, the one he called our legacy, for a hefty sum, and he's using the money to start over, to wash his hands of everything we were. I don't know if it's true, and frankly, I don't want to. The thought of him moving on so easily, while I'm stuck here in the wreckage of our life, cuts deeper than I can say. I've kept that video hidden, the one on the USB drive that showed up like a cruel ghost from that night. It's locked away in a drawer, out of sight, but never out of mind. Late at night, when the house is too quiet and sleep won't come, I find myself pulling it out. I don't watch the whole thing. Lord knows I can't stomach that. But I play just enough to see my own face, to relive those moments of vulnerability and shame. It stirs a storm in me, a mix of revulsion and something darker, something I'm terrified to name. I hate myself for even looking at it, for letting it hold this power over me, but I can't seem to stop. And here's the hardest truth, the one that keeps me awake long after the stars have faded from the sky. Despite the devastation, despite the way that night shattered me, there's a part of me, a small, shadowed corner of my soul, that doesn't regret it. Something woke up in me that night, something that had been asleep for decades, buried under years of routine and duty. It's like a piece of me I didn't know existed came alive, raw and untamed. And even though it scares me to death, I can't deny it's there. That's what haunts me most of all, more than Richard's betrayal, more than the humiliation. How could I feel anything but disgust for what happened? How could there be any part of me that clings to that fleeting, forbidden rush? It's a question I wrestle with in the dark, with no answers to be found. I've lost touch with most of my family since everything fell apart. My children, scattered as they are, have tried to reach out, but I can't face them. I can't bear the questions in their voices, the judgment I imagine in their eyes, even if it's not there. I've dodged their calls, let their letters pile up unopened on the kitchen counter. My grandchildren, sweet as they are, don't come around anymore, not since I stopped inviting them. I can't look into their innocent faces, and pretend I'm the grandmother they remember. Instead, I spend my days in solitude, tending to a small garden out back, though my knees protest every time I kneel to pull a weed. There's something soothing in the dirt, in the slow, deliberate act of nurturing something alive, even if it's just a patch of marigolds. I also write letters to my grandchildren, long, rambling ones filled with stories of my younger days, apologies I can't say out loud, and love I don't know how to show anymore. I never send them, though. They sit in a box under my bed, a collection of unspoken words. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.